Well, greetings, Cap fans. Welcome to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. This is episode 151. And how you doing? My name's Rick Verbanis. I'm your host, and I am so excited for today's episode. You know who's not excited? That would be Bob Lucius, who happens to be the best gosh darn co-host out there. Oh, Bob, are you ready for some football?
Pass.
Exactly. Pass or run. You could do either.
Oh, that's clever. Clever. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. I see what you did there.
Yeah. But do you know what that theme is too?
Is it Monday Night Football?
Oh my God. I didn't think you'd get that.
Yeah. Well, I always see the commercials after 60 Minutes on Sunday night.
We lived two completely different lives.
Oh, sure do. Sure do.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So yeah, today's episode, I'm very excited. And if you've been listening the last few weeks, I probably have been talking about how excited I am because today, Bob, is a very special episode. We are going to do the Captain America Fantasy Draft.
That's my fantasy.
I was like, that took a second. Yeah, so it is August 30th, right? So typically this time of year, if you are into fantasy football, this is fantasy football draft season.
Yeah.
This is the time when you are getting together with your buddies and you're having a draft where you picking your players on your team and you putting together as the GM of your fantasy team. You're picking players from all these different teams to form your personal team that you are going to basically live and die with, for the rest of the season, right? I mean, this is the core of what your team is going to be. And so this is I'm a big fantasy football fan. So to me, I'm excited because we're combining two of my biggest passions, right? Fantasy football and Captain America comic books.
All right.
It doesn't get any better than this.
I got two questions. The first one is, how do you win in fantasy football if they've never actually played the teams against each other? And the second one is there a fantasy football cheerleader league? Could I get involved in that? Because that really sounds like that would be up my alley.
I'm sure there is. To answer your second question,
awesome.
I'm just not allowed to research it.
Yeah, get the parental controls on.
It blocks me every time.
Yeah.
No. How do they win? Okay, so basically, you get these are actual real life players,
right?
Yeah. So it's stats? The quarterback of I don't know, let's say the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, right? I draft him. He's my quarterback. Then I take, I don't know, running back from Atlanta Falcons, and I take Bijan Robinson, right? So, and I pull all these offensive players, skill players, right? Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, people who have the ball in their hands, right?
Yeah.
Then in a lot of leagues, you also have a kicker, right? Because they score points, they kick the ball, and then you might have a defense too.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that in a second. So, and everybody else who has no interest in this, just skip ahead 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But essentially, what happens is on game day, when the quarterback I drafted, Jalen Hurts, he goes out there and let's say he throws for 300 yards. That's worth a certain amount of points. He throws for a touchdown. That's worth a certain amount of points.
Okay.
He runs with the ball. That's worth a certain amount of points, right? So everything is attributed to. Exactly. It's math.
See, another thing I don't like, Rick, math.
Yeah. Well, nowadays the computer handles it all for you.
Oh, nice.
So you just watch it.
And input your selections on your team.
You just pick your player.
Yeah.
And then the computer does the rest.
Okay.
Now back in the day, before the computers, I used to have to go into the newspaper on Mondays and look up the stats and write them down and say, oh, that equals, that was math back then.
Yeah.
That was math. So back in the 90s, when I was playing fantasy football, it was a little bit more difficult. But nowadays,
today, kids
today,
no right?
They have no idea, Bob. No idea how difficult life was with fantasy football before.
They're drinking their Red Bulls and watching their TikTok and letting the computer do everything.
Exactly. They didn't have the hard life I had when I was doing fantasy football.
Right. Yeah.
In the snow. That's how they went.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So and then my team goes up against your team, my team, whoever scores, like if my team scores, I don't know, 102 points and your team scores 104 points. Well, guess what? Your team wins.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Right. So there's no defense. It's not like your team is, defending my team. Not, it's just a matter of, it's like an all-star. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what are we doing today? Well, today I had this brilliant idea. And if I'd say so myself,
well,
you just go on mute. So, what I did was I figured out I was like, how do I do this? How do I combine and make a draft? Well, we're going to draft characters, not players, characters. And essentially we're going to form our team, right? And then our team is going to be based on what story we think we're going to craft with our team. Then I'm going to post it in the Facebook group, Bob, and people are going to vote which story they think they would rather do based on the characters that we drafted.
Okay. Ah, well, I won already. Okay, good.
Yeah, well, listen, if it's a popularity contest, you totally won. I'm the mean guy that tells people to stop being negative in the Facebook group.
You're muted. Like you just muted me.
Mm-hmm. Although it's actually kind of funny. You actually mute more people in the group than I do. But anyway. Oh, you're trying to shush me again?
That's my thing.
It really is. Mm-hmm. All right. So and now, end of this episode, we are going to announce our special guest. We have a creator coming on the show. If you've been playing at home and you follow along, the first Wednesday of every month, we go ahead and we have a guest on the show. And we got a creator coming on the show who we will announce at the end of this episode. And I'm just going to say, it has something to do with an upcoming Captain America story.
Excellent. This is going to be an exciting tidbit. I think folks are going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. So we'll announce that at the end of the episode. Mm-hmm. Bob, how's life been? What are you up to?
Rick, I'm just working, school started again. So I'm teaching again Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8:45. And then of course, doing the training thing, the trail thing. We're getting ready to launch our new season here in October. So a lot of planning for that and getting ready for the, budget planning for that, but keeping busy, kids back in school, 8th grade this year. So that's exciting.
Oh, big man on campus.
Yeah, that's right. Exciting to hear him complain every day when he comes home about how hard his life is. So that's awesome.
Of course.
Yeah. So, what about you, man?
Oh, well, I've got the teenage daughter. So she's going to her senior year of high school. She doesn't complain at all. So I got it lucky there. Actually, her birthday was just a few days ago. Yeah. And so now she's 17 and she can get her license. I think she has. At this point, she's got her license, right? So I've been looking for a used car, and boy, that's fun. Have you looked for a used car lately?
Yeah, I know. I spent like all of June looking for a used car. It's a terrible experience.
It really is.
I wanted to go into a dealership and talk to a car dealer.
I got to tell you, I mean, my last few used cars I bought privately, but nowadays it's just you can't find private cars. They're just they're
It's
not
hard.
around.
Yeah.
And so I'm dealing with dealerships, and then I'm also dealing with these, smaller lots, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And listen, I for a period of my life, I was in the car business for a brief period after college, and so I know the business, right? And man, I went and I test drove this car at a lot, and it was a nice used car, and um you know I made an offer that was pretty low, right? With the idea that they're going to come back and we're going to negotiate.
Yeah.
They're like, no, okay. I was like, oh, all right. Well, let me know what your best offer is going to be. And, and I'm willing to buy a car like, today, or this week, and like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Crickets. Crickets. The salesperson never got back to me. The sales manager never got back to me.
Yeah.
The car's still there.
Wow.
And I guess they just were like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking.
Wow,
but I'm like, come back with something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be my price. Like, come back with something anyway.
Yeah.
I
can't. I know, Rick, I just bought a used car. But before that, I was seriously considering buying a new car. And so, I did a lot of web searches and went to different dealerships and like said, send me a quote on this car, send me a quote. I can't shake those people now.
Oh, I know. Here's the thing. The cars I don't want to buy, I'm getting a million emails.
Okay. Yeah.
A million emails. Yeah. Texts, stuff like that.
Call, emails. Yeah.
Yeah. The two places I've been to where I'm interested and I made them an offer, crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets. And anyway, I'm also now on some sort of list where I am getting like all kind of spam email. And I think it was probably because I was like on, I don't know, like cars.com or autotrader.com. And I put in my email. They probably sold my email to other places. And I'm getting inundated with spam.
Of the car services seem, I mean, I saw some good deals on a couple of them that I was seriously considering. But I lucked out and got a private seller. The typical little old it was a little old man from Pasadena who didn't drive the car except to church and the grocery store, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting fact. So it turns out when we were away on vacation in Spain.
Yeah. Not Rick and I.
Yeah. Me and my family. Our neighbor just found out just like moments ago, our neighbor's house was struck by lightning.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
And they lost like their air conditioning unit, their entertainment system, everything, kind of like shut, like they were sitting in the house and they heard the lightning hit the house.
Did it have a lightning rod?
No.
It doesn't have one? Oh,
no.
Like every house in Florida has one.
Sure. Yeah.
For obvious reasons. We have lightning every day.
Yeah. No, but anyway, and he said like they had the fire company come out because they could smell smoke. Turns out that it turned off it destroyed their air conditioner, but not only did it destroy their air conditioner, it turned on their heat, which was weird.
That is weird.
So I'm like, wow, imagine our house while we were away, on the other side of the world, and it gets hit. Man, we got lucky. Totally lucky.
I know. Yeah. Well, thank goodness for that. And I'm sorry for your neighbor, and I'm hoping insurance covers it for him and makes it right in the next 3 or 4 years, because that's how insurance works. Do I sound jaundiced? I am jaundiced.
Yeah. So. You do look a little orange. So the Facebook group. We not too long ago we turned 5,000 members.
I know, it should be a mega group. They should call it those mega groups.
Yeah.
I told that to my wife and she was like seriously dumbfounded. I didn't know how to take that. I didn't know if I should be offended.
She was like shocked, like, you got that many?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what her reaction was. I didn't know whether I was to be offended or I don't know. I chose that. I chose to be offended.
So. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's always a help.
How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're close to 5,200 now. So and we would be much more if you didn't stop deleting people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little skeptical of those ladies.
Oh, we have gotten a few.
Yeah. Some of
we
them
have gotten a few. They're they're looking for a little attention, a little love.
I mean, what attractive young lady wouldn't like an older gentleman with an extensive comic book and original art collection?
You just crushed a lot of hopes right there, Bob. But I will say, we would probably have another easily, I'm not exaggerating, easily another 500, 600, 700 members if I didn't delete all of the ones they were just wanting to post about Chris Evans.
That's true.
I am deleting them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. Like, do you not read what this group is about?
Yeah, I know.
But listen, I love Chris Evans.
Love him.
But there's a dozen Facebook groups out there devoted to Captain America Chris Evans.
Yeah. Even one or two called Chris Evans.
Oh, that's the funny thing. I just go into there and I do a search for Evans.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, here's 5 I have to delete. Because they're usually like visitors. And anyway, you know what? This is so boring. I don't think any of our listeners care
this
about
is
this stuff.
Inside baseball on a fantasy football night. So yeah.
Way to mix metaphors.
Yeah.
Birthdays. So if you're listening on the day that this episode comes out, which is August 30th, we have a couple birthdays coming up, pretty big ones too. September 1st. Oh, I hate saying September. I can't believe it's so close. We got Gene Colan.
Mean Gene, the dancing machine? Yeah.
No. Gene Colan.
A different guy.
Yeah. Credible artist from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Long runs on Daredevil, but and what else was it? Some sort of Dracula
that's right. Yeah.
Book, right? But he did have a really nice run on Captain America after Kirby left in the the late 60s. So he would have been celebrating a birthday on September 1st. I think he passed away like in 2011. Also September 1st, Joe Jusko. Or Jusko, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but he's done a lot of really cool covers, variant covers for Captain America over the years. He did those painted versions of the corner boxes, right?
He sure did, yeah. Yep. I got a reproduction of a couple of them hanging in my office right here. So Cap, and I've got an Incredible Hulk one. I think I got a Black Panther one and a Spider-Man in the garage stored away someplace.
Spidey doesn't get the love?
No.
Okay.
No.
Happy birthday to Gene. Happy birthday to Joe. And then September 2nd, Walt Simonson. Legendary Walt Simonson. Most people would know him for his work on Thor, but he's been around for a long time. Not sure if he's done a whole lot of Captain America. Probably not, but I had to mention him because he's a legendary artist and writer.
Indeed.
All right. Happy birthday to them.
Happy birthday. Rick, what do you got there? You got a little something there?
Oh, yes, I do, Bob. So, you want to explain this?
All right. Okay. So listeners may recall, because I know they hang on it, my every word, that I went on an Alaska cruise in July. And so, a couple port calls along the way in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. And one of these port calls was in Juneau, which is the capital of Alaska. And my wife and I were out looking around, and a bunch of little shops, lots of.
I would have never gotten Juneau. I would have said Anchorage.
I know most people would. Interesting about Juneau is it's landlocked. So the only way to get there is by water or by air. There's no roads to Juneau. So Amazon shipments take a little bit longer. But in any case,
did you know it was Juneau before you went there?
I had no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. So we were out looking around, and of course, every other shop's a jewelry store, but there's some other kind of cool stuff. And so I saw this one shop, and they did a lot of different sort of things, but one thing caught my eye. And so I went in and I said, I got to get something for Rick. Something that's been on my mind, something that I think he would appreciate and he would get. And I'll explain it to you after you open it. But anyway, it's an interesting thing. And then the more, when I came home, the guy I talked to said, I got an Etsy shop, and I went on Etsy and I noticed that some other folks do this similar sort of thing. So anybody else is interested, but all right.
All right. I get to open this now.
You can open it now.
Oh, I'm opening up the box right now. And on the front here, it says, the bestest Rick Verbanis. That was so sweet of you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I meant to do that, but I ran out of free letters.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Ooh, I got the white Cheetos.
Yeah, I know. The white, my cats are going to be mad because I like playing with those. So
tasty.
Yeah. Send them your way.
Remind me to tell you the Cheetos joke.
All right.
Off air. All right. I got more white Cheetos here. This is great for audio, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have one box inside another box, and now I have another box. Okay.
Like Russian nesting dolls.
Oh, excellent. I love those. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm opening up the final box, I hope. Right. It's wrapped in bubble wrap. Okay. Getting to it. That's
some quality bubble wrap right there.
It really is. You could have taped this a little tighter. Holy crap. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It's another box.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Enjoy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It must be a sweater. Let's see what this is.
A really tiny sweater.
It says Bullet Designs. Oh, no way. No way. You got me a bullet.
Yeah. Use it any way you want.
Hold on. I got to get my readers on. There's something written on the bullet. It's a keychain, it looks like. And it says Diligence. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They didn't sell this. You had to have it made.
Oh,
right?
No, I had it made there. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
I had to engrave it there.
All right, now explain the importance behind this bullet that says Diligence.
All right. Well, we've been going through the 10-issue story arc, Dimension Z, in volume 7, and of course in that story, which you sort of sold me on. Let's do it. Right. Let's do an episode per issue. And of course, you had got me previously to reread volume 7, because the first time that I read it, I was like, when it came out, and I was like,
yeah, me too.
Right. And you said, no, reread it. You'll get something different out of it. And sure enough, I did. I loved it. Right. Got a lot out of it. Thought it was fabulous. And so it didn't take too much to sell me on doing one issue per episode. But in that story, Cap carries around a bullet engraved with Diligence that he frequently looks at.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I wanted to thank you for reintroducing me to volume 7. And
how sweet
is that? The opportunity to review it with you.
Thank you. That was very, very thoughtful.
All right,
and now I feel bad. I went to Spain and I didn't get you anything.
No. The funny thing, I just saw it and I was like, hey, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Bob. My love language is keeping score. So actually, me and the wife and the kids, I took them right before we went on vacation. One of our favorite comedians, Mike Birbiglia, was coming to.
I remember that post. Yeah.
The local comedy club, and we were literally, 5 feet from him. And he's a big name guy, one of my favorite comedians. And he was trying out new material for, for a show. And it was like a 90-minute act. My kids had never seen it before and they laughed their butts off. And one of his things was talking about his love language was keeping score. So
nice.
I can't take credit for that. Yeah. But yeah, all right. Well, now you just up the game, Bob. Now I'm going to have to consider something nice for you.
No. But it's funny. First of all, I was shocked that you went out to that comedian because it was after like 9 o'clock at night.
That's for you, dude. I don't go to bed at 9.
You're like a party machine. The other thing is, when I was on the cruise, they had a comedian that we went to see, and he was an older guy, and I like this joke. He said at his age, his favorite piece of equipment at the gym is the third stall. I thought that was great.
All right.
Let's go ahead and sit down and rest for a while.
So thank you for that, Bob. All right, now let's get to this draft. All right. I know I covered the rules before, but if you haven't heard, this is what the rules are. We each pick 10 players. Okay, we're going to go back and forth. We're going to see who goes first, and then we're going to go back and forth. We each have to we could pick as many, different heroes and things like that. So Captain America is in both our series. Okay, so he's off the board. It's understood. It's a Captain America story. Captain America's in it. We are picking who the characters are going to be in the story with Captain America. And so we have some minimums. Like this is the strategy part, Bob, that I think is so much fun, right? We each have to have a minimum of 2 villains. Okay. We each have to have a minimum of 1 love interest. We each have to have a minimum of 1 former foe, now ally.
Yeah.
We each have to have a minimum of 2 civilians. What's a civilian? Well, that's somebody who is not a former powered person, or a current one. Right. So not somebody who was a villain or a hero, not somebody who was, on SHIELD or whatever, right? Just plain old civilian.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the rest could be whoever we want. Now, here's where we make it even more interesting. Cap has been around for 9 different decades, right? So it's 1940 through 2020. We have to represent, these characters have to represent 5, minimum of 5 different decades. What does that mean? So if we pick, I don't know, let's just say Bucky Barnes, okay? Or Winter Soldier, doesn't matter. His first appearance was in 1940. So that's the decade he represents. Doesn't matter if he was in the 90s, the 2000s, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the year they were introduced. That, boom, check. That decade is represented. Any questions, Bob?
No, sir.
All right. We're going to each get a minute to pick our character, and then up to a minute, then we have, time to explain why we picked that character. And then it's the next person's turn. They have up to a minute to pick a character. And then we'll keep going. And then when we get to 20, what we're going to end up doing, I will take these and I'll put them on the Facebook page with our characters and with our explanations. And people can vote on which series they would rather read. You're on mute.
I'm so in. Let's do this.
All right. Now, we got to see who's going to go first, Bob. So I have in my hands, okay, I have the What Would Cap Do coin. And normally I would say I would have heads on one side, tail on the other. But I've got the blue version and then the classic blue version. Then I've got the new variant red version.
That looks nice.
Which color would you like, Bob?
I want like blue or red?
You like want the red?
Yeah.
All right.
Stands out.
So red is Bob, blue is me. Which one will go first? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to mix these up in my hands. You can't see. You pick the hand, and whatever color that is, that person goes first. Which hand do you want to pick, Bob? Left or right?
We're talking your left or right, right?
Yes, my left or right.
All right, I'm going with your right.
My right hand is blue. I go first.
All right,
just so
enough.
You know. See,
right.
Red was in this one.
All right, I believe you.
Yeah. All right, so I pick
trusting first. Sort of fellow that I am. Okay.
All right, now you're going to time me.
All right.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't need any time. I know exactly who my number one pick is going to be in the inaugural.
Yeah.
Inaugural. What is it? This is my Arnold Schwarzenegger. Inaugural. Right? I'm going to go with my first pick in the 2023 Captain America fantasy draft.
Yeah.
Is going to be none other than Bucky Barnes.
Oh, nice.
AKA Winter Soldier. He's my number one pick. So I am writing this down. I'm putting this down. I am now.
Whoo.
All right. I am putting this down. I am representing 1940s here because that was 1940.
All right.
And I got Bucky. Now, why did I pick him? Well, because duh. Right? Like, if you're going to have a series with Captain America and Bucky's alive,
all right,
that's his best bud.
Okay.
Right? And there's a cool dynamic. Now, I will tell you, I have not read Captain America finale yet. Have you?
I have not.
Okay. It's in my pull box. I haven't picked it up yet. I know I'm running late. I've read everything else, Jackson and Colin have written, but I haven't read finale. So I don't know how that ends with Bucky. I know coming up that he's going to be leading the Thunderbolts, right?
Right. Yeah.
But hey, he could be in two places at once, right?
Yeah.
So he is going to be in my Captain America series.
Okay, good. I like it.
Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a logical choice. I wrestled with that one myself.
Did I steal him from you?
No, you did not. It seems a no-brainer and a safe choice. So I give you that.
Was that a slam? Was that a slam that I went safe?
No, not at all. Not at all, Rick. Yeah, don't perceive it that way. How the listeners perceive it, that's a different matter. But for you, good choice.
All right. So here we go, Bob. Do I need to put you on the timer? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go, Rick.
All right.
And I'm going to mirror you. I thought we were going to go down that list from, love interest and kind of mirror each other. So I'm going to mirror you with a 1940s character.
Oh,
you ready?
I'm ready.
Sergeant Mike Duffy.
No.
From Captain America #1, March 1941. He is my character from that decade.
And is he a civilian?
He is. Well, no, he's a sergeant. It's the 1940s, Rick.
Are you doing a 1940s series?
I can't answer that fully right now, but I will tell you there's a method to my madness, and Sergeant Duffy has a role to play, just as he did in so many issues in the Golden Age stories of Captain America. And so we're gonna go back to that time for a little bit of Sergeant Duffy.
Interesting. I like that. All right. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think you don't understand strategy when it comes to fantasy drafts.
Really?
Yeah. You want to pick a character that you would think I was going to pick so that you pick him before I do.
Oh.
Did you really think I was going to get Sergeant Duffy?
No, but my strategy is, and I thought the strategy was to have the most compelling slate of characters for a Captain America story that the Facebook members would want to read.
I got you. So basically, with my second pick, I should just go Sam Wilson and just like have the trifecta here of Cap, Steve, Bucky, and Sam Wilson. That would be kind of mean, I think. I really thought you were going to go Sam.
No, it could be if you just wanted to rehash the last volume.
Okay, first of all, it wouldn't be because Sam had his own series.
Right. All right. Fair enough.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that. All right.
All right. I mean, I totally could go Sam here.
All right.
But what I'm hearing you saying is you're not even interested in Sam.
I don't think I'm gonna. Well, it remains to be seen. Who knows
how coy?
Who knows what will come next, Rick?
you gotta pick a Golden Girl. I mean, like,
but I have a great story, and I'm
okay.
filling the characters for a great story.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a great story too, Bob.
Okay. All right. I don't doubt that.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, then you should put me on the clock.
Go.
All right. So, I mean, if we're going to go popular, right? I mean, if we're just trying to get votes, it would make sense for me to get Sam Wilson. There's a ton of Sam Wilson fans out there.
There sure is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a slam dunk if I was to have both Bucky and Sam Wilson, but I feel,
what category are you going here for?
You really threw me. I thought Sam was going to be gone and I was going to pivot to something else.
What you going to do? What you going to do?
All right, here we go. Ready?
I'm ready.
With pick number 2 of the Captain America fantasy draft, I am picking Diamondback.
Oh, Diamondback.
A little Rachel Eistein. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know what, Bob? She's going to check off love interest and former foe, now ally.
Wow, nice.
Right?
Nice.
I gave myself more flexibility with that one.
Well, I like flexibility in my women.
So and the decade that she represents is she debuted in Captain America 310, which came out in 1985. So now I am representing the 1940s and the 1980s. I am going to hold off on explaining her part in my story until I get a little deeper into my draft.
Fair enough, Rick.
But I know she is going to be a popular one with our listeners.
Yeah.
She definitely makes the top 3 in the love interest. Yeah. And a lot of people think of her as the number 1 for Steve.
A lot of people think of her. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Good choice. Well done.
All right. Number 2 for you, Bob. Should I put the timer on? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go, Rick. And
all right, let's do it.
I'm gonna lay out my selection for love interest, right? Just a little.
I already know who it's going to be.
You do?
I do. Hold on. I'm gonna write it down on a piece of paper.
All right.
And then I will hold it up.
All right.
And see if this is accurate. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Here we go. I'm going with Margaret Peggy Carter.
Oh, it was not who I wrote down.
As you know, Margaret Carter debuted her first full appearance, unnamed at that point, was Tales of Suspense 77 back in February 1966. So there you have it. My love interests.
Wow.
Yeah.
I sense a period piece here for your story.
You may sense a shadow of one.
Yeah, because you're going to go back and forth, huh?
Who knows what could happen in this world, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but who doesn't? I really wrestled with this one, Rick. I gotta tell you, in my heart of hearts, I wanted to use Betty Ross. I really, really did. You know, she
debuted Golden Girl.
She debuted in Captain America Comics #1 as well. And she accompanied Cap and Bucky on a lot of adventures. In fact, there was a bit of a love triangle between her and Sergeant Mike Duffy in Steve Rogers.
That's true.
A lot of those issues, right? But of course, in all the retconning that's taken place, Betty Ross is often associated with Jeff Mace, who took over for Cap after William Naslin's passing. So I just felt like that would confuse a lot of folks, and that might, you know, generate some controversy, some debate about whether it was appropriate. Did he know her at this time? I think it's clear that he did. But in any case, I'm going to go with Peggy Carter. Who doesn't like Peggy Carter? She's played such a big role in his life in the comics, but not nearly as big a role as in the MCU. And a lot of folks, they have a little soft spot, maybe a big soft spot in their heart for Peggy Carter because of her image in the movies. And so why not play on that a little bit, right? Just as the comics have.
Listen, whenever I think of Peggy Carter and Haley Atwell, there's nothing soft about it, Bob.
Well played. Well played. Nicely done.
Okay. Well, I think that's an interesting choice. Was not on my radar. All right. I'm going to go with pick number 3. You don't have to put me on the clock. I'm ready to go.
All right.
This actually is going exactly how I planned it.
Oh.
I have here a list. You can't see. I'm not going to zoom in. I have here a list of my picks. This is the same thing I do in fantasy football. I lay out who I want to pick, and then I have like option B, option C, and all that.
Yeah.
And so far, my first 2 picks, exactly how and now pick number 3.
Yeah.
Exactly how I planned it.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. That would be one niece / I don't know, distant relative of Peggy Carter, Sharon Carter.
What? You're going to have? Oh, I think there's going to be some tension in your story.
Oh, you think there's going to be a little love triangle?
I think there might be some tension.
There could be.
Yeah,
there could be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. Listen, Sharon Carter. She, and by the way, she represents love interest as well. She was in Tales of Suspense 75 is where she debuted, right?
Yeah.
And so that is 1966. So I now have 40s, 60s, and 80s represented. I've got love interest and former foe turned ally. And yes, you are sensing, Bob, a little bit of a love triangle in my story. More details to come as the draft unfolds.
All right. I love it. I love it. All right. Well,
number 3 for you.
All right. Number 3 for me. And I think what I'm going to do here is I love the fact that you have a little bit of a love triangle going on. So I also have a second love interest, and it's a bit of an unconventional one.
Okay.
It's not one we've seen before, but I think we're going to use it as one, right? We're going to use this dynamic. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
From the 1990s, I am going to bring in Kathy Webster, AKA Free Spirit.
Damn it! No, no.
From Captain America number 431, cover date September 1994.
I had Free Spirit. I was going to pick her later in the draft for a different reason.
What?
You stole her from me.
Oh my goodness.
Damn it.
I thought that would have been, I thought this was a real outlier. I wouldn't have guessed in a million years that you.
Well, then why did you pick it so high? You want to pick, dude, the way this works is you want to pick the ones you think I'm going to pick, take them from me so that I can't take them. Why would you take the, here's a character I don't think you would want.
Because
I'll just
it's
do
great
that.
for the story, Rick.
Picks.
I'm building the best team.
Oh man, I got to tell you, I'm going to have to tell you what I had I had plans for Free Spirit.
Did you? I bet you did.
I did.
Yeah.
I
Turn Vagabond.
Of all the characters that I have researched for this draft, I spent the most time on her.
I bet you did.
And it's all wasted.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Spent a lot of time reviewing images of Free Spirit myself. So
is there one where she's just totally disproportionate and all bent out of shape on a cover?
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you want to talk about why you picked Free Spirit?
Well, one, I think she's an amazing character, and I love the fact that in many ways she mirrors Cap's capabilities. She is peak physical condition for a woman. She has peak human strength, peak human durability, peak human agility, peak human healing, and peak human stamina. And I'm thinking to myself, if you were going to pair somebody with Cap that could do some damage, those two would work well together, and they've never been together. So I thought, that might be something interesting to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And it also involves, of course, the story that they're involved in. So
yeah. All right. Pick number 4 for me. Now this one is I think the listeners would appreciate this character, at least some of the listeners. This is characters more from me, because you mentioned Volume 7, and how Volume 7 was a much better story the second time around, and one of the major components for that story, is the fact that Steve's a father. And I can now relate to him on that level. And so, and I thought, having Ian Rogers back in the recent Captain America story during Cold War kind of opened up those feelings for Steve. And we saw a Steve Rogers who was like Steve Rogers we don't normally see. He was unbalanced. He was unhinged. He didn't care. He fought Sam Wilson. Why? Because his son was in danger. And that creates a whole new side of Steve we don't see very often. And so I think having Ian Rogers in my story will continue that kind of side of Steve and just create a whole new vulnerability to Steve. And then you add the fact that I have Sharon Carter, which also helped raise him. So there's that whole dynamic there.
Interesting.
So my pick number 4 in the Captain America fantasy draft is Ian Rogers, aka Nomad.
All right. And he represents, what decade was that?
Well, that was in Volume 7. So that would have been 2013. So 2010. He represents 2010.
All right. Okay. Interesting. All right.
Who do you got for number 4?
Well, I'm going to go with my former foe turned ally. Any idea where I'm going with this, Rick?
Nope.
No? All right. I'm going to drop this on like a B box. Namor McKenzie.
Namor?
Yeah, Namor. Yeah.
You're bringing in the Prince of Atlantis.
Yeah, I am. From Motion Pictures Funnies Weekly, April 1939.
Oh, that's interesting. You're representing the 30s.
Yeah, right.
I didn't see that coming.
Right. Yeah. So great character, rich mythos, right? Originally kind of a bad guy, right? I mean, flooding New York City, going up against the Human Torch, not a good guy, but eventually becomes a good guy, right? Becomes one of the invaders, becomes a close friend of Steve, even though there's a time where they don't remember each other. Things come back together, of course. And so interesting character, always plays well up against Captain America, Steve Rogers. So I thought, yeah, I definitely got to have him on my team.
I like it. I like it. You definitely going this whole World War II period piece here. I mean, obviously other than Free Spirit, but
yeah,
you got a little dynamic going. I like it. I like it, Bob.
All right, Rick, we're almost halfway through. What's your number 5 pick?
Number 5 is I don't think you're going to pick him, but I think you're going to be jealous of me.
All right, this is where it gets interesting. Sort of the maybe some of the obvious ones are out of the way. Now we're starting to like really dig a bit into the mine looking for diamonds.
Yeah, I already have Diamondback. So this one is going to fall under villain, and this one is going to represent the decade of 2020.
OMG.
Yeah. This was actually a character that you and I both really loved. And when we were talking with Alana Smith not too long ago about we got to bring this character back. He's too much fun.
Oh no,
the Natural.
You didn't. I didn't. You know, I wrestled with that one, Rick. I really did. I didn't know that. I wasn't that familiar with the rules. I should have asked.
What do you mean?
Well, Cap never met him, right?
Yeah.
But Bucky did, and Sam did.
Yeah.
So, and Bucky and Sam are in your picks. So
right.
Yeah. So.
Well, Bucky is. No one's claimed Sam Wilson yet.
No.
Poor Sam.
Poor Sam. All right. Yeah, good. I love the Natural. Such an interesting character.
Yeah. So if people aren't familiar with him, in 2020 there was a miniseries. It was Falcon and Winter Soldier. And this character was introduced. His parents were extreme Captain America fans and raised him to be a big Captain America fan. But apparently he had this natural gift of just, how would you describe it, Bob? What was his power?
It's really hard. But I don't know. It was a natural,
a natural assassin.
Yeah. I mean, he was just great at killing.
Yeah. And he was recruited by this new Hydra faction, right? And it was a really fun story. We covered it way back when I want to say episode 27. We covered, it was back in episode 27. We covered the Falcon and Winter Soldier miniseries, and that came out in 2020 and 2021. So, you could check that out. And then you, me, Alana Smith, right? We all love the character.
Great character.
He's a fun, because he's a kid, right? He's like a teenager, and he thinks he wants to do good, but then he just kills people.
Yeah, and he loves Cap.
Right.
Right. And he even dresses like Cap.
And I can't get into how I'm going to use him in this story, because that will be later in the draft as that unfolds.
Fair enough. As a bonus, are you going to have his parents?
Well, I guess they could show up. Sure.
I think they need to show up.
Maybe they'll be my civilians.
They're great, great characters.
You never know.
Good choice.
Unless you take them from me in the draft. If you take them as your civilians, then I can't use them.
That's true.
All right. So I'm representing 5 different decades. I've reached my quota, Bob. I got 1940, 1966, 1985, 2013, 2020.
All right.
I don't have to worry about it anymore. I could just, I'm all free and fancy free.
All right. I'm just starting to scratch the surface here, but okay. Fair enough.
Number 5, Bob, who do you got?
All right. I'm going to go with a villain too, Rick. I'm going to go with Heinrich Zemo. The Baron. All right. Yeah.
The original.
The original. Yes. Well, not the original. I mean, they come from a whole line of Baron Zemos, but certainly the World War II Heinrich Zemo that we first get a glimpse of in Avengers number 4, but who makes his first full appearance in Avengers number 6 from May 1964. So a great villain. It was a tough one. I kind of wanted to use the sun, but I think for the story, Helmet. Yes, the great Helmet, the Dark Helmet. Yeah, but Heinrich, I really loved the story. I don't know if you've read it, the Bahamas Triangle. The Invaders
Yeah,
Bahamas
I know.
Triangle, Jeffrey Ordway and Roy Thomas, and that's got
we read that. Yeah,
we did not read that. Namor, Human Torch, Captain
America.
No,
we did that.
We did not.
We did that. Yeah,
we did not. We didn't.
Yeah,
and it's got Heinrich Zemo, and he was portrayed as such a great villain in that story. So it's just got in my head that I got to use Heinrich Zemo as a baddie.
All right, Bob, I gotta tell you, this, other than Free Spirit, which I had as my pick number 8, by the way.
Yeah.
This has been flowing exactly how I want it, and it sounds like it has been for you too.
Yeah.
All right, number 6 on my Captain America fantasy draft. I'm going to go with another villain, Bob. You ready for this one?
All right.
Madam Hydra. Viper.
Oh, okay. Now I got a little bit of jealousy going on.
You weren't going to use her in your story,
I wasn't going to use her, but I thought about it, and
I'm sure. How many times did you think about it?
I'm going to think about it later. Think about it again later. But I love Madam Hydra, and I don't know. Things have gotten a little crazy with her recently, but I, just the original concept of Madam Hydra always appealed to me, and I think it's a great character if you're going to have a baddie. And particularly, you've got a couple really great love interests, strong, powerful women, and you've got a villainous woman.
I'm telling you right now. So, yeah, she came out. Issue 109 was her first appearance, which came out in 1969. And so, yeah, guess what? She is going to be the major baddie in my story. She's the main villain. Okay.
All right.
And so she is going to be the main villain who is essentially trying to take over Hydra again because there's these different factions. And she recruits the Natural.
Nice. They make a nice couple,
wouldn't they?
Couple of psychopaths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. That's why I figure the Natural. I thought you might have taken the Natural. That's why I kind of picked him a little earlier. But yeah, Viper's gonna be the major baddie, and the Natural is just gonna be one of her henchmen.
Yes. All right. I like it. Good. Nice.
Who do you got for number 6, Bob?
Ooh, number 6. I think I'm going to have to use up one of my decades right now, and I'm going to go with Sam Saxon, aka Machine Smith.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So he represents, of course, the 1960s, first appeared in Daredevil 49 from December 1968 as Star Saxon. But he first appeared as Machine Smith in Marvel 2-in-1 number 47, October 1978. So I got a few baddies I gotta cover for obvious reasons. Not obvious right now, but obvious later. And he's going to be one of the central ones.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Always a fun character.
He is. I don't remember the last time I know. Was it volume 7 later in volume 7?
Yeah.
With was it Alan Davis doing the art? I want to say, and this was after the Zemo story. That seems to ring a bell.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right there.
Yeah. So that might have been the last time we saw him.
All right. We are moving along.
Okay. All right. So far, so good for me, because I am going with another villain. And this is another one that was recruited by Madam Hydra. And this villain debuted in issue 107 of Captain America back in 1968. So just a couple of issues before Madam Hydra. So we're going classic here.
Yeah, you
right?
are. Yeah.
Yeah. So Viper, she is a queen of manipulating people.
Mm-hmm.
She needs someone on her team who can manipulate the best of them. Like no one can manipulate more than Dr. Faustus.
I love it. Oh man, that was a close one. You almost sniped me on Dr. Faustus.
I just sniped you if you.
I know, but I decided not to use Dr.
Faustus. Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
so
glad I didn't.
Yeah. Now you're starting to see how this is all coming together. So Viper is using Dr. Faustus to manipulate the natural, right? She's Dr. Faustus is also manipulating Rachel to try to get in between him and Sharon and rekindle the romance.
Ooh, I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, I had this brilliant idea for Free Spirit, who was going to be my next pick. Dr. Faustus was manipulating Free Spirit to go after and attack Captain America. Why? Because he killed Jack Flag. And so she is convinced that it wasn't a Hydra version of Captain America. It was Captain America. And so she is going after him to attack him because Dr. Faustus has got her convinced that he killed Jack Flag.
Nice. That would be a good story.
It would be, but you took you took Free Spirit from me.
Yeah. All right. That would have been a good one, I must say.
All right. Who you got for number 7?
All right. I'm going to 7. All right. All right. I'm building to something here, Rick. So I don't want to reveal the last 3 until it's absolutely necessary. So I'm going to go with my 1980s representative decade from Avengers 195 with a cover date of February 1980. Do you know who that was?
Nope.
He was on the cover.
What's the category? Is this a hero? Is this a villain? What is this?
He's a villain. He's a villain.
I don't recall.
Anthony Masters, aka Taskmaster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Who doesn't like a good Taskmaster story? A guy that can replicate anything he sees and master any fighting art simply by observing it. That would be interesting, particularly with 2 skilled fighters like Cap and Vagabond.
Vagabond? No, Vagabond's a completely different character.
I'm sorry, Free Spirit. Yeah, I have Vagabond on my brain.
Oh, are you picking her next soon?
No, I wouldn't do that, Rick.
Are you?
I don't know. Am I?
It's not the first time you've said Vagabond.
Am I? I have Vagabond on my brain.
I bet you do. Is it that particular issue where she's doing a little flippy of D-Man in her?
If that's your word for it, I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
Oh yes. All right.
Okay. So maybe your pick 8, which I had slotted for Free Spirit, maybe I should pick Vagabond.
Who knows, Rick? Who knows but the shadow?
All right, you might as well put the clock on now because the first 7 picks went exactly how I wanted them.
All right.
And then pick 8 was going to be Free Spirit, and you totally robbed me of that. I did have Vagabond on here. Now I wasn't sure if she fell underneath civilian or hero, but she does, after I did some research, she does fall under hero because she's done different things.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go that way. No. I mean, Sam Wilson's the low-hanging fruit. I mean, he's just sitting there waiting to be picked.
And you're running out of time.
Although I got this other villain that I had my eye on.
10 seconds.
I had a backup villain.
5 seconds.
All right. with the 8th pick in the Captain America fantasy draft, Rick picks William Burnside.
Another, oh no, William Burnside.
Yep.
I knew this was going to happen.
Why, was that one of yours?
It might have been on my list.
Yes.
Great
minds. All right. I wanted Free Spirit in the 8th round. Instead, I took William Burnside, which was one of yours.
All right.
I feel vindicated. William Burnside, aka the Captain America from the 1950s. Totally a candidate for Dr. Faustus to manipulate and to do that. And he appeared in Captain America 153, which was 1972. Just for the heck of it, I am representing now yet another decade. But I think he would be an excellent character for Faustus to manipulate and maybe, just maybe, confuse the love triangle and Sharon Carter.
Interesting.
Maybe just confuse a son by the name of Ian Rogers.
Ooh.
William Burnside appears.
Interesting.
And maybe some of the characters close to Steve at first are taken that he is actually Steve, and then he does some horrible things.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yes. All right. What do you got for number 8?
I would not have used him that way. I like a redemption arc, and I want to see William Burnside redeemed. I want to see him healed.
Then you should have picked him earlier, Bob.
I know, I should have. So I'm going to have to go with my second unpowered civilian.
Who was the first one?
Sergeant Duffy.
You said that wasn't a civilian because he was in the military.
No, you said unpowered civilian. By civilian,
I said civilian, and you said no.
Well, we're using that term.
Civilian.
We're using that term differently. I'm saying civilian, not a superhero, not just a regular person who doesn't have powers.
All right. Well, I said, are you going to make them your civilian? You said no, because he's in the military.
Well, I misheard you then. We have to have two. He's
Do we need to go back? Do we need to rewind the tape?
You're welcome to do that, but on your own time. So he's one of my two unpowered civilians. And I have a second one. Do you want to know who the second one is, Rick?
Hold on. Let me see. Who is your second one, Bob?
Hiram Ridley.
No. I had him. That's
what?
Twice. You totally sniped me twice. Yes, Ram.
Oh, no. From Captain America 313 with the cover date of October 1985. That
have Dr. Faustus manipulate him to go after Cap because he wasn't there when his mom died.
Oh, he's over that, Rick.
He's older now. He's no longer a teenager. You sniped me.
But don't you know that he now works for S.H.I.E.L.D. as a government hacker?
No.
Yeah, he's moved on from the hotline and now.
Oh, wait, is this your story or actual Marvel Comics?
No, it's my story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't seen Hiram Ram Ridley in a while.
You totally took one of my civilians.
Oh, so sorry.
Oh God. I had a really cool story of him being manipulated by Faustus and
oh man, that's gotta be heartbreaking.
Oh, shut up. Now I'm just gonna be picking rant because I'm down to 2 civilians. That's what I need.
Oh wow.
And you took Ram.
It's always Sergeant Muldoon.
I don't know. All right. I'm going to go with Amari. Amari is from the recent Captain America Sentinel of Liberty. He is Steve's little neighbor, the little boy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that Steve took under his wing and showed him how to fight.
Yeah.
And then
I like that. Good,
yeah.
Good. Nice recovery.
I like him, I think he's, a interesting character, and we'll see if he gets manipulated.
Okay. I like it. That's good. Nice recovery. Well done. Well done. We're down to our final. Well, I'm down to my final 2, Rick, right? You have 1 more to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to make these 2 count.
Now, hold on now. You have 2 civilians. You have 3 villains. You got 1 foe turned ally, and you have 1. Okay, so you're free to do whatever you want, and you also have decades of 30s, 40s, 60s, 80s, and 90s. So you're free and clear. You just you could pick whomever you want.
All right. Well, in that case, I am going to go with the Elder of the Universe, Endwi Gast, aka the Grandmaster, from Avengers 69, August 1969.
I don't know how to react to that.
We've had some great stories with the Grandmaster. I mean, that wonderful story, right? Where he sent the Avengers back to fight the original invaders in Avengers. What was that? What was that issue?
I don't know.
Oh, I can't remember, but we covered it.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah. So wonderful character with a lot of potential as, the main villain.
Yeah. He's the main villain.
He is the main.
So somehow he's got Zemo, Machine Smith, and Taskmaster all working for him.
He does, in a manner of speaking. Yes.
I like it. Yeah. I'm interested in this story now.
All right, Rick, what's your final position?
I don't know. I can't believe you took Free Spirit and Ram from me. Okay. I need a civilian. Oh, what the hell?
Oh, please.
We're going with from 1980.
Oh, no. Well, maybe.
1980. This person lived in Steve Rogers' apartment complex.
Okay.
Bernie Rosenthal.
Oh, I thought for sure you were going to go with Gail Runciter.
Nope.
All right.
Yep.
I love a Bernie.
So she's a civilian, but maybe a potential love interest. Oh no. Now he's got Rachel coming back, and he's got Bernie coming back in his life.
Wow.
What's he gonna do?
Especially, love, it's all in Rick's book.
Especially after Sharon leaves him because of what William Burnside did to her, and she thought it was Steve.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Sharon leaves based on thinking Steve did something, but it was actually William Burnside. And now Rachel and Bernie are showing up. And Steve's all alone.
Wow.
He's a little love.
Now you think Sharon would know the better based on her interaction with William Burnside in Volume 5. Son, he must have gotten better at his shtick.
Is that what they're calling it?
Whatever.
All right, Bob. Last pick of the draft in the Captain America Fantasy Draft. Pick number 10 for Bob's team. It is going to be.
All right. Well, I'm trying to have a great spread, Rick. Right. And although I don't need to go for another decade. In my arrangement of characters, this character represents the 1970s. He's a pivotal character in my story, one that changes the very course of the tale. Indeed, I'm talking about Toth Key. Do you know who Toth Key is?
No.
Yeah, he often goes by another name. You might remember him as Mr. Buddha.
Oh, really?
from Captain America's Bicentennial Battles #1, June 1976, and also the fan favorite Captain America Annual #6.
Was he also November. In the Captain America Corps?
I don't remember.
Was he the guy that brought all the Captain Americas from the different timelines together
in Annual #6?
No, in Captain America Corps.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. But he is the one that brought the Captain Americas together in Annual #6.
And is he? What category does he fall under?
He doesn't really have a category.
Okay, you don't need one.
He's Mr. Buddha. He's neither hero or villain. He's a lot like the Watcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's another elder of the universe.
All right. You know what? I am shocked, absolutely shocked that Sam Wilson didn't make it onto either one of our teams.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not shocked. I mean, he's such an important character. As is Bucky, right? But I think maybe people are just hungry for some other relationships, and seeing some other dynamics. And I think that's good. We just, between the two titles and the coming together, the crossover event, I think maybe it's just people want to see some other characters they haven't seen for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a little recap here. My team: pick 1, Bucky; 2, Rachel Diamondback; 3, Sharon Carter; 4, Ian Rogers; 5, The Natural; 6, Viper; 7, Dr. Faustus; 8, William Burnside; 9, Amari; 10, Bernie Rosenthal. Bob's team here: pick #1, Mike Duffy; 2, Peggy Carter; 3, Free Spirit; 4, Namor; 5, Heinrich Zemo; 6, Machine Smith; 7, Taskmaster; 8, Ram; 9, Grandmaster; 10, Mr. Buddha. So I'll just quickly recap my story here.
All right.
We've got Cap, Steve Rogers, along with the important people in his life: his best friend, Bucky Barnes, the love of his life, Sharon Carter, and his son, Ian Rogers. Right? Those 4 right there make a main part of the story. But wait, they got villains here. Viper is making a play to reclaim Hydra as Madam Hydra. She brings in Dr. Faustus to help manipulate the Natural and William Burnside to go after Steve Rogers. How do they do it? Well, they do it with Rachel Bernstein making a play for being back as Steve's love, and confusing Sharon and confusing Ian to the point where they no longer trust Steve. And then you got Bernie Rosenthal showing up as well. And then he's still living in the same place, so his neighbor Amari is there.
I love it. I love it.
How about you?
I would read that story. I'd read the heck out of that story.
And here's the thing, Bob, with characters like Sharon Carter, Rachel Leinstein, Bernie Rosenthal, Madam Hydra, Viper, you gotta have an artist that can draw hot babes. Right? So I'm thinking it's gonna be Adam Hughes, Frank Cho, Art Adams, Kevin McGuire, right? I'm gonna go for one of those artists to draw, so that I've got some incredibly attractive women in the book to go along with the amazing story.
All right. I like it. All right, good. All right, Rick. Well, here's sort of a thumbnail sketch of my story, right? I'm always intrigued. A little background. I'm always intrigued in the Facebook group of the debates we have about whether Cap is a superhero, super agent, or a super soldier. And I thought how interesting it would be to put that to the test, right? To put him in a position where each of those is tested. And so in my story, the Grandmaster abducts Captain America and splits him into his three personas, the super soldier, the super agent, and the superhero, and forces each of them to fight opponents from his past. So, for example, Baron Zemo in World War II as the super soldier, Machine Smith as Commander Rogers, the super agent, and Taskmaster as the superhero. So he will pair up with Namor to fight against Baron Zemo to save Peggy Carter and Sergeant Duffy. As the super agent, Commander Rogers will team with Hiram Ridley to fight Machine Smith. And as the superhero, he'll team up with Free Spirit to fight against Taskmaster. Of course, all of this is, through the trickery of the Grandmaster. But the Grandmaster has made the decision that they have to fight to survive, and only one of them, and they will fight against each other, will ultimately prevail and be able to continue to exist. So will it be superhero, super agent, or super soldier?
The three Caps have to fight each other to the death?
Yes, the three personas have to see which one prevails. Right?
That is interesting and intriguing.
It would be, but there's a twist. Mr. Buddha, who we know from previous stories, shows up and proposes a third option. A second option. And that second option would be if the three of them fought together against these three villains and they cooperated and prevailed, the Grandmaster would reintegrate them back into a single persona, the Captain America that we know, who in reality is super agent, super soldier, and a superhero. So we get to see different time periods in Cap's history, because these time periods have already been covered in the comics, from those from those different series. We get to see him fight these guys, but also work together. These three different Caps work together to overcome the villains.
Bob, that's a great story. I would totally read that.
Yeah, well, I think it would be interesting, right? I love this idea of are there really three different personas? Are they so different?
Yeah.
Really? Or interesting. Are they just three facets to, a single person?
Who would you get to be your artist?
I don't know. I brought up I see this as sort of maybe, an annual, certainly longer than I think a single issue. Could be an arc, but I would love to see someone like Jerry Ordway do this.
Okay.
I really loved that Invaders Bahamas Triangle. I love the art. I love the feeling of it. It has a very sort of, I don't know, it has a very sort of, I would say 1960s feel to it for me. And I think this has to be fun. Otherwise it could be dark. It could be weird. And I don't want it to be that. I want it to be fun and lighthearted, right? Rather than too serious.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. I think it's a mini series. I think you got enough there to go on, for a mini series. Like each issue could be devoted to that time period or whatever, and then, you have all of them together in the first one, and then 2, 3, 4, separate, and then issue 5 brings it all together again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I see mine as an ongoing series, at least 12 issues.
Oh, you're shooting for the stars. I like that.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta plant the seeds for the psychological manipulation that's going to be happening on an emotional level, right? Yeah. This isn't just oh no, he said this to me, I'm going to now go completely out of character. No, like these things, it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you pick some great characters for that too.
Yeah.
Those dynamics, the tensions. I like that. And you can never go wrong with Faustus, I think. He's really, over the years, he's really grown on me. Because I think he's a completely underrated character. Yeah, what he brings to the game and his abilities to get people to do things that think they would do, or be the sorts of people they didn't think they were. I think that's an amazing villainous skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's funny because back earlier this month, the beginning of August, there was a post in the Facebook group by Kurt Pollard. And he posted how, and I'm just going to read it. He said, Captain America has a new writer, and I'm excited for this, but I would love to see some lesser known villains be featured. I love to see Dr. Faustus, Viper, and a revamped Serpent Society.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. And I'm like, damn it. Don't give Bob any ideas. Like, I literally had this idea for Viper and Dr. Faustus prior to this post. And I was like, oh man, I really hope Bob doesn't like look at this and like get ideas and steal my villains.
It's funny you mention that, because I remember that post, Rick, and that was one of those, and I want to say this was one of those posts where I use what would Cap do. Because I am not a fan of, except for Viper, I'm not a fan of like snake named villains. That whole thing is not my thing. And so I was going to make a comment, and I said, nope, I'm not doing it. Let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. Move on.
Well played, Bob. Yeah, well played. So anyway, I know Kurt Pollard's going to be voting for my story.
There you go.
I got a built-in vote.
And I'm sure, people who love that debate about super agent, super soldier, superhero.
Are you politicking right now?
I am. I think they're going to be
fascinated
by seeing that played out. Can those three personas work together? Will they voluntarily reintegrate? Or will one or the other think?
We all know the answer. It's Steve Rogers, of course. Steve Rogers isn't going to fight to the death. He's not going to be like, oh, I'll kill these other two Steve Rogers. No, they're all going to be like, hey, this doesn't make sense. Let's all work together. And we already know the result of your story, Bob. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'd read it, but come on.
I guess you might be right. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, what'd you think, Bob? I know you were like, I don't know about this idea, but what did you think of this?
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I particularly enjoyed watching you squirm. But no, this was a good time. I enjoyed this, and I enjoyed, having to sit down. I really did rack my brain about, I started with a story, like what kind of story would I like to see, right? And then trying to backfill in the characters that I thought would be compelling additions to the story to move the narrative along. And that I went through a lot of drafts trying to like figure out which characters I thought would work well. And of course, the rules constrain you a little bit.
Yes, that's right? The strategy part.
Yeah,
that's the part that you have to
constrain you.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great deal of fun to lie in bed into the wee hours of the morning, staring at the ceiling, thinking about this. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm so we're talking like 15 minutes you put into this, because that's easily 3 times as much as you normally do.
Yes, with bathroom breaks.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? Let's do this again in April. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because that's when the NFL draft is.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense. We'll have the NFL draft, and we'll tie it in with our draft, and we'll do a completely different story.
Yeah. You know what you should do? We should have a patron contest.
I like that idea. Tell me what you're thinking.
To have a third team. A 3-way fantasy football competition.
Wow, then we'd really be struggling for characters.
Well, yeah, it might be a bit tougher, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, definitely would require a lot more thinking and planning and having branch plans. But that might be fun to do.
Yeah, I like that idea. We'll have to have a contest. We'll have a contest to see who wins the opportunity to be the third player in our draft. And well, we got time to figure it out, but let's focus on one in April, which is over half a year from now. But anyway, I had a lot of fun planning for it too.
Good choice of episode topic, Rick.
And then next episode, we promised we would tell you, we do have a guest coming on the show, and this person is working on an upcoming Captain America series, Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos.
Oh,
so yeah, so that comes out, I want to say in October, and so we're going to have the writer of the series coming on the show to talk about the upcoming miniseries. And we're going to have Stephanie Phillips on the show. So she'll join us next episode to talk about Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos. Now, if that name sounds a little familiar to you, she's mostly done a lot of DC work. She's been the writer on Harlequin. She's been the writer on certain Batman books, Superman. So she's certainly been around, especially on DC books. And she's done a few things for Marvel as well. She's done a Fantastic Four. I think she did an Avengers story. But anyway, we're excited to talk to her about Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos, because I want to know how she got the idea for this, because especially since it's a period piece that takes place in World War II, and Cap Wolf is a character that came out in the 90s by Mark Gruenwald. So I can't wait to talk to her to get the inspiration and some of the plot, and maybe a little tidbits of what we might be expecting, because we got the Howling Commandos. What does that mean? We're going to have the Nick Fury's team, but could it mean something else too?
Yeah, interesting. A lot of folks have been talking about this miniseries in the group. There's been a lot of back and forth about Cap Wolf and this story, and if there's any connections, and on and on and on. And so there's definitely interest, and so I think people are going to be eager to hear from her.
Yeah, can't wait to talk with Stephanie next episode. So make sure you come back for episode 152 next week. All right, Bob, I think that about does it. Unless you got anything else you want to add?
Sure don't, Rick. This was, again, a lot of fun. Thanks for coming up with the idea. And I can't wait to do it again in April.
You got a lot of time to think about your next story.
I do.
All right. And I can't wait to see what the listeners' reaction is on Facebook. So just go to Facebook. If you're not a member, just make sure you find out the Captain America Comic Book Fans Facebook group. Make sure you join that, and you can vote on which story you would like to see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis, and you have been listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.